Right then, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me again. We're on the lane and I'm feeling good today. The weather is fabulous. The sun's out. The weather's been a little bit up and down lately, to say the least, and today we're going to have a little chat about your questions on the CL500 and maybe a little stray into biking in general. But I've had lots of questions. Thanks so much for all the questions you've popped into the comments and contacted me with directly as well. Much appreciated. And the first one I'm going to attend to, because I don't think there's an awful lot I can say about it, but quite a few of you clearly are considering the CL500 as your first bike, big bike. Many of you coming from 125s, and you're sort of saying, is it the ideal bike for me? I just get past this chap. And is it going to be a ideal bike for me to get started on? Some people a little bit nervous, I think, about the jump up to the first big bike, and that's understandable if you're used to a 125 in particular. The next bike you have is going to be quite a shock initially, and if you're a person maybe of small stature as well, who wants a bike that fits them and is only used to a little 125, suddenly handling a bigger bike, it's a bit daunting, and it can be, and we've all been there. First of all, we've all been there. Don't worry about it, you'll be fine. So is the CL500 ideal for you? I would say absolutely. I don't think anybody could argue with that, really. Very easy to ride, light, agile, all the things that we've spoken about before really are going to be important to you, and also very intuitive. Everything, all the switch gears where you expect it to be, it's simple, there's not too much going on. Very light clutch, a thing I haven't mentioned before. People did mention that actually about the clutch. What's a clutch like? It's very, very light. I've had torque assisted clutches before on Triumphs, and this is as light, if not even lighter. So I mean, I'll do it now, I mean, it's literally a finger job. It's fantastic. So very easy to ride, very intuitive, very sharp handling, agile, all the things that we said is good about the bike in general. I think are probably the same sort of things that are important to a new rider. This is interesting. Where's Czechoslovakia? Is that CZ? I think it possibly that he's a little bit lost. These are definitely not the lanes for a lorry of that size. Oh dear. Well, last time the road was closed when I came down here completely, and I had to turn around and come back. This time we've got an enormously outsized wagon on tiny little lanes, and if he thinks this is going to get any better up here, he's wrong. It's going to get worse, so he really needs to think about where he's going. Is he going left? I've got a horrible feeling he's going left. Yeah. So is it possible for us to get past here? I don't know. Oh, this is a bit of a disaster, isn't it? So yeah, if you're a new rider, that's very good of him. If you're a new rider, fantastic. I don't think you'll get a much more suitable bike than this. And the upright riding position as well, I think, is ideal for a new rider. It puts your head where it needs to be, and that's looking in front of you, so that you can check on the road ahead. This is this little lane that I love so much. I brought you along before. So there we are. Yeah, it's quite clear. All that gravel that was in the road from the thunderstorms has cleared now, and the roller coaster's back in action. But yeah, great bike if you're a newbie. I think if I had to recommend a bike for somebody who's a little bit nervous coming up from a smaller bike, this would be up there at the very top. It's not unique, there are other bikes as well, but certainly this will be one of them. Another question that came up actually was, I had an interesting message from over the roller coaster here, from a scooter rider who said that he's been riding scooters for 30 years. Now, if you remember, I passed some scooters. I made the remark that scooter boys don't wave at bikers and vice versa, and why is that? And it was quite interesting because he said that he's been riding scooters for 30 years, but he's thinking of buying a CL. And that made me think actually about, I wonder how many scooter riders have actually ridden bikes. I wonder how many bike riders have ridden scooters. I suspect it's more one way round than the other. I expect most scooter riders have ridden a bike at some point, as they're more ubiquitous. But how many of us bikers have actually ridden a scooter? I've only done so on one occasion, and that wasn't actually a proper scooter. It was a thing called a Gilera DNA 125, which I bought for my wife at the time. She wanted to try and get into bikes. But apart from that, nope, never ridden one. But one thing for sure, we should all wave at one another. Stop all this nonsense of not waving. We're all on two wheels. Oh, now we've got a bus. I didn't even know this was a bus route. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So this is a bus route. Well, you learn things every day, don't you? I'll certainly pick my time. I'm going to just drop back from it a little bit. I don't want to breathe that diesel in particularly. This is Kimber Edge, by the way, as it says there. Just on the edge of Kimber. Surprise, surprise. And a lovely place to come and have a walk if you like trees, which I do. Now the other subject, just before we get onto the CL specifically, is that had a lot of questions, and that was about the Triumph 400, the new Triumph. And one thing I picked up, I had 2 messages myself, maybe 3, and I read a lot of other people mentioning the same thing, and that is, and I don't want to go down this route too much, but I thought I'd mention it, that there is bias amongst YouTubers, let's be honest. There's bias amongst people. Human beings are biased, and there's one particular YouTuber who has a thing about Triumphs in general, and people are saying that I've listened to his video on it, and it's put me off. I mean, should I even think about buying a Triumph? Extraordinary, really. I won't get into it, but please just make your own mind up. People have biases. The YouTuber in question clearly has a real issue. Completely ungrounded in my opinion, but I said I'm not going down there, and I'm going down there. But yeah, some people have biases, some people keep them to themselves, or just chat about them in the pub with the mates. Others brandish them across a platform like YouTube. I have biases myself, but I can try and keep them off the videos, and will do, because I'm aware of them. Some people not so self-aware. There's nothing wrong with Triumph as a brand. The way they treat the customers is very similar to the way every other manufacturer treats their customers. They're running a business, and the only thing with the new 400s is that make them slightly unique is, of course, as we know, they're a new partnership deal. So we're not sure at all of what the quality is going to be like, but we can pretty much be rest assured that it'll be fine. Triumph have got some superb engineers working for them. Bajaj, as I think it's pronounced, the company that are going to be making the new Triumphs, are well experienced. Clearly they're going to be different from the mainstream Triumphs in certain quality aspects. Well, a lot of it will depend upon the price as well, as to whether we can recommend them. The donkeys are out. But the news I'm getting out of India, I'm picking up from India, is that the Indian market has been stunned by how cheap these Triumphs are being pitched at the moment, which from my tentative inquiries seem to be around about just over 2,000, equivalent to £2,000, which obviously is incredibly cheap, and due to the fact that they're just on the home market there where they've been built. That's clearly not going to be the case once they've been shipped abroad. It's the same with Royal Enfields. They sell for incredibly low prices in India. But I think even the Indian commentators themselves are quite shocked by how low they're being pitched. So that's interesting. That would make us think maybe that when they do come over to these shores, they will be on the lower side of the estimates. Who knows? Time will tell. But whatever you do, make your own mind up. Don't let anybody else, me or anyone else, make your mind up for you. Right, back to the CL, and one of the important things that I haven't mentioned, and it could be a weakness of the bike. You could see it as a weakness, and that is what's right in front of us now, the Speedo. Now, I don't know how much the camera is picking up. People have said that this Speedo is very faint, and I think when the Speedo's been used on other bikes like the Rebel, the same things have been said by commentators. Now, it isn't bright. I can't pretend that it's bright. However, equally, I can say that it's never caused me a problem. I've never not been able to read it. As you know, it's a simple LCD type display. It's also dirty at the moment. I need to clean it. But where it's very good actually when there's sunlight on it, which is rather counterintuitive. But like now, where there's a lot of sunlight around, I can see it quite clearly. Not a problem. It's not a bright display, but then again, I suppose you don't really want anything bright that takes your eye too much, do you? The only time I can say it's faint maybe if it's in dappled light on the trees, and you may. But generally speaking, is it its strongest point? No, it's a very simple instrument. But is it a problem? I can honestly say I haven't really found it, not myself. You may differ, you may think it's not bright enough. I don't know if you can see it here. Action cameras that I'm using here are very strange when it comes to what they pick up. But I can see it really, really clearly now. We've got bright sunlight on it right now, and only when it's shining right at the screen do I lose visibility, but then you would with any type of instrument in that case. Right, we're on the TT road again. I'm not quite sure yet where I'm going to go. So that's the instruments, but it's a good point. But I can honestly say it hasn't been an issue for me. But equally I can say they're probably not as noticeable as some of the displays are. But let me compare them to a bike that I rode recently actually, which was a BSA. Now those instruments, as you know, are analogue. They've got the speedos that turn what people have said is the wrong way round. Of course it's not the wrong way round, it's just that they start at a different position. But those instruments I found very difficult to read, seriously problematic. They had far too many indents, and I just couldn't make out what speed I was doing. It's as simple as that. This instrument console on here on the CL is far better than that in my opinion. It doesn't look as pretty, but in use far more practical. And don't get me started on the little lights that are on the headlight cowl of the BSA, because they are unreadable in any light. They're just completely neutral light, the high beam, the indicator. You just can't see it at all. Oh dear, a dead badger there. So yeah, we're just coming onto the straights. Other people did mention to me about, is this a Roman road? I don't think I mentioned it in the original video, but yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's what my dad would always call a straight road, and it's about 6 or 7 miles of straight road starting here, just with slight bends. One of my other... Oh, we've got traffic lights. Oh, what a blow. This doesn't happen on the TT, does it? Yeah, one chap, Philip, mentioned that he's got a Himalayan and he's thinking of the CL. And he said he knows that any bike is going to be far more powerful and quite a shock in terms of the increase in power that he moved to after the Himalayan. He was considering, funnily enough, the Himalayan, the CL500 and the Triumph Street Scrambler. And as you know, if you've watched my other videos, my previous bike to this was the Triumph Street Scrambler. So, but the one thing that surprised him, because he messaged me back after I'd mentioned it, was that this bike is considerably smaller than the Himalayan that he's already got physically. A lot smaller. And Philip, I think he said he was 6'2", and I did mention that he would definitely, when he sat on this, he would find it very, very small if he's used to the Himalayan, and he was quite surprised by that because he hasn't seen one in the flesh yet. But yeah, this is a very compact machine. Whereas the Himalayan, even though it's 400cc, like most Royal Enfields in fact, are quite chunky bikes physically, considering their engine size. The classic 350 really quite a big, chunky and indeed heavy bike for a 350. The Himalayan, it's quite tall, as you'd expect of an adventure bike, and quite a big machine. The only one in fact that isn't is the new Hunter, the little Hunter, which is a very, very cute little machine. I mean, that is very much on the small side. The Interceptor, sort of mid-range, isn't it? Sort of as you would expect for a 650. So I think I'm going to nip down the lane again, as I'm just following Lorries along the TT course. So we nip down here to Quat. And what a beautiful day it is today. What a pleasure to be back out on the bike in the sunshine. What could possibly be better? We've got an awful lot of horses over there. I don't remember seeing quite so many horses in one place at one time for a long time. Now the other questions, what were the other questions about the CL500? Yes. Well, what we'll do is I'm going to stop just here and I'll give you a quick run round, because we'll get through. This is an ideal place. Let's just sit here for a moment. A bit of scrambling. So I had a few questions. First one was actually, there's my list there of things I'm supposed to remember, which I've not even looked at. First one was the exhaust. People said, one chap in particular said, that exhaust looks like it's going to be hot and burn the legs of any passenger. Well, as you can see, the bike's been running now for quite a while and the engine's still on now. Bare hand, nothing. In fact, it's no warmer than the tank, so no. The reason for that, of course, is that, as you can see probably with the light there are two separate heat shields. There's one black one underneath, and then this is the second one. Exactly the same system as Triumph use on their Street Scrambler. And I know people used to ask me a lot, don't you burn your legs on that high exhaust? No, the manufacturers have thought about that, and as you can see, absolutely no issue whatsoever. The other one was, somebody asked, what's this? Why is there a lock there? Well, of course, I'll just take you around here, because the key position of the ignition in the CL follows what it was on the Rebel in the side here, rather than on the headstock. The bike's actually got a separate lock, steering lock, so I'll just rev it a bit. So that's what this is. That's an old-fashioned steering lock. The pin comes up out of that hole there, so that's what we have there. Was there anything else? No, oil level. Where's the oil? The oil level's on this side down here, as you can see. There's a window there. Obviously I have to straighten the bike, we all know that. But the oil check level is just there. So that's it. Oh, and you may have also noticed that I've replaced the rear foot pegs. I decided that I've just decided I wanted to, so they're back in place. So that's it. That's I think the three little things that people ask me about specifically. Let's get on. But it's at times like this when you just pull over, you can park anywhere, you haven't got to worry. All part of that easygoing nature of this bike. If I had a heavy sports bike or a heavy adventure bike, you do tend to think about it. Where are we going to stop? Where should I pull up? What angle am I going to be at? Where am I going to put my stand down? There's none of that with this bike because it's just so light and agile and easy to manoeuvre. And as I said, as much as I'd like a more powerful machine in certain occasions, the advantages that this bike gives you in those terms are just so useful, so pleasant, makes it so pleasant to use. So it swings and roundabouts, as with everything. Well, we've done really well with the traffic today. This lane is usually empty. It's now looking like the M5. There you go, the sun's up, and now we've got a forklift truck. I mean, seriously, a forklift truck towing a little van. And there you go. It's been interesting today, hasn't it? Some walkers off into the woods there. Right then, I'll leave you in a few minutes. We'll be at the CAF, and I may tag on a little bit of footage of some bikes if there's any interesting bikes there today. It's a sunny day, there could well be. Let's give it a bit of a go. Well, that shows my total lack of riding skill, doesn't it? I've never ever missed a gear before like that in memory. Never mind. So there we go. I'm under dappled trees now, and I can see the instrument panel perfectly well. So that's all from me. Thanks so much for watching again. I hope this has been of some interest. I'll pull into the CAF now and see what bikes are there and who's around, and buy a cup of tea, have a chat. For me, thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Thanks very much. See you soon.